Today's video is all about how you can grow your hair to be long, thick and healthy, the holistic way. And no, I'm not going to be trying to sell you some miracle product that's going to magically grow your hair overnight. I'm going to tell you exactly what works. Whenever I meet people for the first time, the majority of people will comment on my hair. It's kind of become my defining feature at this point. But one thing that I find very sad is that a lot of the women that I speak to will say that they desperately want to grow their hair, but they believe that they just simply can't. They're convinced that their hair only grows past a certain point, and these women are experiencing breakage problems, thinning hair, and often the conversation just ends with, "Oh, well, I suppose it's just genetics." Well, let me just tell you this. A good few years ago, my hair was in an absolutely horrific state. My hair was so badly damaged from bleaching, excessive heat. It had become so porous and brittle that even when I was washing it in the shower, it was breaking like crazy. And it even got to the point where I was serving a guy at the bar and he simply turned to me and said that my hair looked like straw. And yes, I cried, but now I'm laughing. I then became so obsessed, as I do with everything. I'm a very obsessive person. I scoured the internet for information on how you can grow your hair quicker, and believe me, I have tried so many things, and I know what works and I know what doesn't. So I want to save you a lot of time here. I'm going to be discussing things such as the inversion method, castor oil, supplements, how to actually care for your hair, and loads of other things. Let's get into it. The first thing I want to discuss is castor oil. Castor oil, I do believe, if you're going to use any oil, this oil specifically targets hair growth. I've used it on my eyebrows before and I did see some growth, but castor oil has been tried and tested for so many years, and I can confidently say that if you want to boost your growth and you're impatient, castor oil is definitely worth looking into. However, it's definitely not essential. When I was desperate to boost my hair growth as much as possible, as quickly as possible, I was definitely willing to put in the work when it came to the castor oil routine. But honestly, it's a faff. I'm just gonna put it out there. What I would do is once a week, on hair wash day, before I went to wash my hair, I would put an oil mixture on my hair and leave it there for a few hours. So I'd be walking around the house with grease all over my hair. I had my own little potion mixture that I made, which was castor oil mixed with olive oil as a carrier oil. I then even crushed up some Pro Plus because I heard that caffeine stimulates hair growth and increases blood flow. And then I also put a little bit of neem oil in there because somewhere on the internet I heard that it helps. But I've also used neem oil for various things holistically in the past anyway, so I know that it's a beneficial oil. So that's what I did back then. But with the knowledge that I have now, I would have done this mixture a little bit differently. So I would say sack off the Pro Plus altogether. At the end of the day, Pro Plus isn't natural, and I don't really think it's necessary. But what I would replace it with is 1 or 2 drops of rosemary oil and peppermint oil. Both of these essential oils are very good for hair growth. I used them in my eyebrow mixture, but I must stress that because they are essential oils, they both have a very, very potent smell, so you only need a tiny bit. I would heat this mixture up in the microwave just for a little bit, like 20 seconds, and then I would massage it into the roots, because that's the key here. You don't really need to put this on the ends of your hair, you only need to put it at the roots. Whenever it comes to hair growth, it's all about stimulating the scalp gently and promoting blood flow. You're basically feeding your hair follicles. So I did this for a series of months, and once my hair got to a certain length, I just generally got sick of it. But then I was also combining it with something else which is much more low maintenance, and honestly, I think it's just as effective. So the next one is the inversion method. This I swear by because I can't really see any negatives with it. It's so easy to do this routine, and like I said earlier, it's all about blood flow, so yes, castor oil helps, but scalp massages make a huge difference. And scalp massages are not just beneficial for your hair, they're beneficial for the fascia in your face as well. Scalp massages contribute to so many things when it comes to your health, which I didn't know about at the time, but I know about this stuff now. So, the routine. I would flip my hair upside down for 4 minutes. I'd set a timer, and I would massage my scalp just for 4 minutes. And I would do this is very specific now. Take notes if you have to. I would do this for 4 days in a row, once a month. And then I would stop, and then the next month I would do it again. I believe that the logic behind it is, obviously you're flipping your hair forward, so you're inverting, and it's bringing a lot of blood flow to your head and your scalp, teamed with the massage, and it gives everything a boost. The reason why you don't do it every single day of the month is because your body gets used to everything. And quite frankly, I was very happy that it only had to be done 4 days in a month. And another key note to bear in mind for females in particular, do not do this on your period. Just don't. Pick a different time of the month for you to do this routine. Okay, so now we're moving over to hair care in general. And I want to start with this. Heatless hairstyles. Let me tell you, I hate these. And I am not going to recommend them to you either. One of the biggest problems when it comes to people struggling to grow their hair is simply that they keep damaging it. And that is just the reality. And you can do all of these methods religiously, but honestly, you'll be kicking yourself or shooting yourself in the foot if you are continuously damaging your hair through heat, bleach. But fear not, I have a kind of happy medium ground for you. So I tried the heatless hairstyles. I knew that heat was damaging to my hair, and previous to my routine now, when my hair was in a really bad condition, I would religiously use straighteners because my hair naturally is actually quite frizzy. It's not really sleek looking if I were to just let it air dry. It would just look kind of like a ball of fluff. And there's no way that I could just go through life looking like that. I just wouldn't feel confident. I tried the heatless waves by putting my hair in all sorts of different weird ways, and I would try and sleep with these uncomfortable, horrible things in my hair. And I would wake up and the waves would look shit anyway. And I would just think, wow, okay, I've had a terrible night's sleep for no reason. Great. And I suppose more to the point, I don't really like having my hair curly anyway, but I digress. The way to stop damaging your hair through heat is to ditch the styling tools and learn how to do a proper blowout. That's my solution. Yes, hairdryers emit a certain amount of heat, but it is so much less than what you get with ceramic hair straighteners and curlers. The difference is huge. And I'm saying this from experience because I invested in the Dyson hairdryer. I know, £300 for a hairdryer is insane. I do personally love that hairdryer, but I'm not saying that you have to go out and get that hairdryer. Just use a hairdryer that has a nozzle, a medium heat setting that's not too hot, and a cool blast. The cool blast is very important. Most hairdryers have this, and you can go on the internet and you can watch tutorials and practice the technique. My routine is that I just wash my hair once a week, and I'll take the time to do a proper blowout, make sure that all the cuticles are as closed as they possibly can be, and then for the rest of the week I don't need to do any form of styling. Now, everyone is different. Everyone likes to have their hair a different way. I know that people don't want to hear this, but the heat styling tools will just keep breaking your ends, and the breakage will just continue to ride up. But by the same token, you don't have to walk around like a yeti. There are other options. And I was actually told by a hairdresser friend of mine that actually it can be better for you to properly dry your hair manually as opposed to letting it air dry, because for me, for example, my hair is so much easier to brush through when it's been neatly styled with the hairdryer as opposed to if I'd have just let it air dry. So in other words, throw your straighteners in the bin. Next point. Let's talk about the whole you should get regular cuts myth. There are so many people on the internet going on saying that you need to have regular cuts in order to grow your hair. Now, a lot of them don't go into detail as to why, and a lot of people have ran with this advice and they go too far with it. I've heard people say that in order to grow your hair and maintain it, you should be getting regular cuts, as in every 6 weeks. That's ridiculous. If you're getting your hair cut every 6 weeks, unless you have really, really, really fast growing hair, your hair will literally just stay the same length, in my opinion, and from life experience. I get my hair trimmed every 6 months, and I go to a very specific hairdresser that I've been going to for a million years. You want to find a hairdresser that you trust, that you know isn't trigger happy with the scissors, because there's a lot of hairdressers out there that overgauge it. They always take way more off than what you ask them. So avoid going to those hairdressers. I get my hair cut every 6 months because usually it's around that time that I start feeling the ends and they're getting a little bit ratty. Not ratty, but it's hard to brush through. My hair knots a lot easier and the ends just feel dry. Now, depending on how much damage you're doing to your hair, you may need to get your hair cut more than what I do. So here's the thing about split ends. There's a lot of lies out there in commercials that sell these products telling you that you can seal your split ends, and that is just not true. Factually, it is not true. There are products out there that can seal them and temporarily make it appear like the split ends aren't as visible. But once an end is split, it's split. And the best thing that you can do is get it trimmed so that the end of the hair is not split. So if your hair feels healthy, generally I would say you don't need a trim, but once it does feel like it's starting to get to that point, yeah, book a trim, because otherwise those split ends start riding up the hair follicle, and then you have to get even more length taken off. Okay, now let's talk about bleaching, dyeing, and constant restyling. Now I know how this feels because all the way throughout my teens, I have had probably every hair colour that you can possibly think of under the sun. I've had blue hair, purple hair, red hair, black hair, blonde hair multiple times, and it looked terrible every single time. I had pink hair and black hair, kind of like the Cruella style. I was constantly changing my identity, and that runs a lot deeper than just what it appears on the surface. I know people that do get their hair changed every time that they have a new boyfriend, for example, or a new phase in their life. So I get it. But if you've got it in your head that now you're ready to embrace your true natural self, even though the self is interchangeable. Anyway, I got to a point where I was sick of changing my avatar. I wanted an ultimate look that was me, and I realised that my best look is the more natural, the better. And I do strongly believe that that is the case for every single person that is watching this video. You might think that for some reason blonde hair will make people treat you differently or better. Or maybe it makes you more attractive. Maybe you've got so used to seeing yourself with your dyed hair. But honestly, in my opinion, your natural colour will make you shine and glow the most. And there's things that natural hair does that a dye just can't compete with. You've got to think to yourself, you were created by God in a very specific way. You have specific tones in your skin. Your eye colour is very specific, and there is a divine design behind it. And if you've learned about colour season analysis, you'll kind of get where I'm going with this, but your hair colour can change the way that you look so drastically. And without banging on, I just personally think that keeping your natural colour and growing out the dye will make you feel so much more confident because it just fits perfectly. This is coming from someone who's tried every colour under the sun. Even if you're grey, I honestly personally think that grey hair is pretty cool, and I believe that you should embrace it and it'll shine a certain way in the light. But that being said, I know that's quite a bold move, but for all the people that haven't gone grey yet, let me just say this. Every single dye, no matter what, contains hydrogen peroxide, and every single time that you dye your hair, there is a chemical process that has to go on that opens up the follicle. Now obviously bleaching, going lighter, will damage your hair so much more than going darker. However, all across the board, it causes damage. And that was the number one thing really that pushed my hair over the edge. Bleaching my hair destroyed my hair. So, that's why I'm banging on, telling you, embrace your natural colour. It's cheaper, it's easier to maintain, you can actually get some clothes in your closet. I'm not American, I don't know why I'm saying closet. You can get some clothes in your closet that actually complement your hair colour, because you will have the same hair colour year in, year out. Because there's another thing, when I dyed my hair blonde, nothing in my wardrobe looked good anymore. I couldn't wear black. I even had to change my makeup style. So that's another thing to bear in mind. Okay, now I just want to briefly touch upon products, and I don't want to hang on to this for too long because I said I didn't want to promote any products to you guys because really they're pretty irrelevant. But then there is relevance, there's massive relevance, because the less chemicals that you put on your hair, the better. So what I would actually recommend is try and simplify your hair care product routine and try and minimize it to as little as physically possible. Totally contrasting what these influencer people do, right? It's horrifying to see how much excessive products people hoard and claim to use. And the majority of these products are not doing anything good for your hair, and they are simply damaging it more. And you're having to smell those fragrances as well. And that's wreaking so much havoc with your health in general, in every way. Heat defense spray, you don't need it. It's complete and utter crap. It's a scam. The best heat protection that you can do is to not put excessive heat on your hair. I actually went to the trouble of researching this and looking at an experiment that was done between a piece of hair that had heat protection versus not, and the end conclusion actually was that heat protection really doesn't do anything. It's completely pointless and a waste of money. So throw it in the bin. Next thing to look out for is sulfates that are in shampoos. Avoid them. They are terrible for your hair, terrible in general. In fact, I'm just going to put on screen now a bunch of ingredients that you should avoid as much as possible that are in shampoo and conditioner. And this is, by the way, not a full list, but it's just the basics. So for me personally, I use a brand called Sukin. They're probably not perfect, but I've used them for probably the past 10 years. They're one of the most natural brands that I could find online or in the stores. So if you're one of those people that's using a drugstore brand, don't. Because the drugstore brands are the trash of the trash. They've got all sorts of chemicals. They don't even care. Not even one bit. Now, if you want to go really extreme with eliminating toxicity, I do know people that wash their hair with bicarb and rinse it with vinegar. And I'm a very extreme person myself, but even I have not gone to that length yet, so I'll let you know if I do. And finally, the biggest, most important thing that I could tell you when it comes to hair growth is diet. So many people do not understand the relevance of this because they think, oh, well, your hair, it comes out of your head, and by the time it's out of your head, it's dead. Diet can't change hair, so what's the point in even looking at it? I can say that out of all the things that have helped my hair grow, when I started really focusing on having a nutrient-dense diet, the growth is just ridiculous. And that's not just relevant for my hair, it's relevant for my skin, my nails, everything. Put it this way, right? Whenever your hair grows fast, you'll often notice that your nails will grow fast as well. If your nails are brittle, your hair will most likely be brittle as well, because they both require similar nutrient collections. I've worn fake nails for the past 4 years, non-stop. I didn't even give my nails a break. And about a month ago, I decided to take them off. I thought, I'm done with them. I want my natural nails back. And my natural nails have grew at such a extent already, and you would have never ever thought that I was wearing fake nails for 4 years constantly, because you would expect some severe damage and brittleness, but they're so hard and healthy. That is the power of diet. Just as something quick and simple that you could start doing tomorrow: avocado and Brazil nuts. Magic. I had this one summer where I had about 3 avocados in a week, and I swear I looked at my hair and it was like it gave it a massive boost. As part of my daily diet, I always have a selection of nuts, just a small selection as well. I probably have 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day, and it makes the biggest difference. Now, the subject of diet is obviously very complex, not because it's supposed to be complex, but because we live in a world where we're being poisoned from every single angle, and everyone's trying to make money from telling you that this is bad, or that, oh no, this new diet pill is the best thing ever, or you shouldn't be eating this food that's been around for centuries, because all of a sudden there's these studies. Yeah. It's a mess. I like to keep things very simple and logical. Come back to reality, right? If it was grown in the ground, if it was brought down from God, aka fruit, vegetables, nuts, seeds, dairy, cheese, meat, fish, even though I'm pescatarian, if it is a natural whole food that has not been adulterated, I'd say it's pretty okay to eat. But all this processed junk, crisps, chocolate, processed things, seed oils, I've done a whole video about seed oils. They are the devil. Do not have them. Do not consume it. It will destroy you. Here's something concrete that will kind of help you along with this. If your goal is hair growth, find out what vitamins contribute to hair growth, aka B7. B7 is also known as biotin, and then ask ChatGPT what foods contain B7. Now, I'm not going to give too much away because I've got a video coming up all about B7 and biotin, and I really want you guys to not jump on the bandwagon of just buying a supplement and thinking, oh yeah, well that'll solve everything. I really do promote that you should try and get as much nutrition out of your diet as you physically can. Like, put as many things into your meals that add other vitamins and nutrients. This is how we were supposed to eat. We weren't supposed to just pop a pill and say, there's my vitamins for the day. It's a weird concept, but that's for a whole nother video. Coming soon. Stay tuned for my next video. I'll be going much more in depth about the diet thing, but for now, Brazil nuts and avocados. Very good. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing. It really does help a great deal. And I'll see you in the next video. Love you, bye. Mwah.